Aloha Headsets, Frank here, and another week has passed us in the world of PlayStation VR. We saw the formation of a new studio. We learned about a patent for Vive-like trackers for the PlayStation VR, and we got another delay for Star Trek Bridge Crew. All that and more on your weekly update. First things first, last week we saw the release of Ping Pong VR as the only new VR title in the store. Merge Games' table tennis simulator is not exactly what you're looking for. Sure, the game works most of the time, but the physics are a little off and a lack of multiplayer support makes this $15 title not so worthy. If you'd like to find out a little more about it, then click on that little link that just popped up and check out my review. Now, for today, although we don't have any full releases, for those of you out there that purchased the Season Pass for Resident Evil 7, you will be receiving the second portion of the banned footage DLC. Volume 2 features 21 and Daughters, where you need to play a deadly game of 21 as you gamble your life with Lucas Baker before diving into the family's life before the tragic events that unfold in Daughters. An extra game mode called Jack's 55th birthday is included, where you take on Jack Baker with plenty of treats for his special celebration, although that one does not come with PlayStation VR support. I personally can't wait to play these, and make sure to check out the channel later this week for a full review. I know. Come on, Frank, where are all the damn games? Don't worry, I hear news of new titles every day, and speaking of news, let's jump right in. First up, big news for all you Psychonauts fans out there, The Rhombus of Ruin is now available for pre-order in the PlayStation Store. And if you live in the US, your purchase will also include a digital download of the original Psychonauts game. This VR experience will help connect the original story with the upcoming sequel. I personally never played the original, and I keep hearing how great it is, so getting it as a pre-order bonus is pretty cool. Next up, Star Trek Bridge Crew has been delayed until March 30th. The thing is, I would much rather have a good game that I had to wait for than a rushed piece of trash. I'm very excited to finally get my hands on this one, and if it's anything like Ubisoft's other VR offerings thus far, I think we're in for a treat. Now, delays are no fun, but they have said the original USS Enterprise will be included and ready at launch, and I never have an issue with more content. Next up, some very big news regarding tracking. Sony recently filed a patent for a new tracking system for the PSVR that looks a bit like Valve's room scale experience. In the application, Sony outlined the concept as a method for determining an orientation of a photosensor of a controller with respect to a projector is described. Now, basically, it's just a fancy way of saying that they are considering external tracking rather than the internal light-based tracking, which could bring our little headset up to par with the big boys. Now, we don't know for sure if this will even hit the PSVR or if it's a feature we will see in the next iteration. Either way, this is just another nice piece of proof that Sony is working to make PSVR as amazing as possible. See, it ain't the Vita. And if you're worried that studios closing was a sign of the end, then what does it mean when a new VR studio opens? Enter Dream Reality Interactive, headed up by David Ranyard, the former head of Sony London for the past 17 years and one of the main people behind Sony's VR Worlds. Back in October, Sony did a major restructuring of their London studios, and with that came many job losses, leading some to speculate it was the cause behind Ranyard's departure. One way or another, Ranyard states that, with the availability of a range of VR headsets, the question is no longer if virtual reality will be successful, it is when, and most importantly, how. None of us really know the answer, but after a fantastic 17 years at Sony, now feels like the right time to explore the possibilities. Going independent allows me to work across all platforms, and that's very liberating. Although independent, Ranyard will not be alone. Many of his peers from Sony have joined the team. The studio is already working on several projects and prototypes, creating its own IP in addition to developing titles in partnership with other IP owners across a variety of VR headsets. This is great news for VR in general. Don't get me wrong, exclusives are great and all, but they really aren't going to help our budding new medium. But what will help our budding new medium is the great news for all you Valkyrie players out there. On February 15th, you will be able to access the first of the 2017 game updates, Wormhole. With this update, we see a wealth of improvements. First off, we see a new game mode called Wormhole that will twist what you know about Valkyrie into a wonderful and weird new encounter. We are also seeing the addition of the Valkyrie League lineup, the first in a series of updates aimed at a more competitive play. They have added official flight stick support with the ability to custom bind every input. The comm alerts have had an overhaul, and they have introduced pilot training and a new player experience. Honestly, this is just a short list of some of the key features introduced in a new update, and I really do suggest you check out the full update list, which I will link in the description. This is already one of the best multiplayer titles on the PlayStation VR. And did I mention it's all coming to you for free? If you haven't hopped in the cockpit already, then right now is a perfect time to join the fight in Eve Valkyrie. And did I mention it's cross-platform? Now, news-wise, that's it for the week. But I did come across a pretty funny post on Reddit that I thought I should share with you. User Panther784 found a great article that has some 2007 reactions to the first iPhone, and I think we can all learn something from this wonderful blast from the past. So let me share a few choice kernels with you. Apparently none of you guys realize how bad of an idea a touchscreen is on a phone. I foresee some pretty obvious and major problems here. It sure is good at what it's designed for, but a phone that entertains and talks, other than that, I don't see much potential. Touchscreen buttons, bad idea. This thing will never work. Now, as Panther pointed out, it wasn't too long ago that we called the iPhone an overly expensive proprietary device with limited applications. But look at how far this expensive device has gone, and how many clones it has spawned. I know tons of you hate the iPhone, but you can't deny its influence on the market, and in my eyes at least, VR is definitely in the same ballpark. Now, I need to get to work on tomorrow's video, so I'm gonna let Shaun from Small Fry Unify end it out for us today.
Aloha Headsets, Shaun here from Small Fry Unify. Just giving my VR headset lenses a little bit of a clean after a long session. Anyway, it's that time of the week again for the weekly update content, and I'm here to tell you a little bit about a game called Sirens by Hammerhead Games. In Sirens, survive and escape a sinister underwater research facility where dark experiments have led to horrifying results. That's right, in this game you wake up unaware of what's happened as you try to escape the underwater research facility before the reactor core goes critical. A scientist who's obsessed with eugenics. Eugenics, if you're wondering what that is, that's the process of trying to make humankind better by using genes and manipulating them. So imagine there's going to be kind of weird amalgamations or types of characters throughout the game. One of the main characters, I presume the Siren, is the mermaid itself. Now, the mermaid doesn't have legs or a tail like a normal mermaid. Instead, it looks like they've got weird kind of legs and they've got robotic parts, if going by what's on the Hammerhead website of the character design, just even from the environments. It reminds me a lot of Alien Isolation, especially the VR demo that went out to other VR headsets. So that's going to be interesting to see if it's got that horror, psychological thriller type of experience for you guys on PlayStation VR. The idea behind the story is research facilities being set above a lost city that is in the sea, and this was an ancient civilization, and the scientist, the one who's obsessed with eugenics, is now trying to revive that civilization, and he's doing experiments on, I presume, humans. So that's the idea behind the game. We've only seen a couple of trailers. The website's up, you can check it up on hammerheadvr.com. Hopefully you guys check it out in March when it's available on the PlayStation VR. Unfortunately, we don't have any prices yet, but hopefully we'll get that quite soon.
Well, that's it for this one. Did you stay up all night playing Resident Evil? Are you upset about the Star Trek delays? Or are you one of those crybabies just whining for more triple A's? Let me know in the comments. As always, thank you for watching. If you enjoyed it, please hit that thumbs up. And if you want to stay up to date on everything PlayStation VR and you don't mind this ugly mug, friggin' subscribe!
PSVR Frank.
It's lit!
Hey you, check out this video or this video. And if you haven't already, friggin' subscribe! I mean, come on!